If you're tired of harvesting lettuce full of holes, watching cabbage worms destroy your kale, or losing beautiful greens to insects every summer, today's video could save your harvest. Hey everyone, it's Angela Allen. Welcome back to the Handmade Homestead and Garden. Well, today I want to talk about how easy it is to grow perfect greens. Let's go. Most gardeners think that growing perfect greens requires constant spraying, complicated pest control strategies, or just plain old-fashioned luck. And I am here to tell you that it doesn't. Truthfully, there are only 3 ways to grow greens organically, and everything will come under one of these headings. And one of them has completely changed how I grow kale, lettuce, cabbage, and other leafy crops, and in fact all of my brassicas too. I want to share that with all of you because I think it can be so helpful. So this isn't just for organic gardeners, but I am an organic gardener, and it absolutely sticks for all of us that do garden organically. The first way is what I call naked and hoping for the best. You plant your greens, you water them, and then you hope that the insects decide to visit someone else's garden this season. Sometimes this works surprisingly well, especially in the spring when the pest pressure is really low. And the advantage is that it's simple and it's free. The downside is that you don't have much control over the outcome. Some years you'll get beautiful greens, and other years you'll end up feeding the bugs all of your produce. Or worse, you'll bring in your Swiss cheese holy leaves only to wash them and find that you have a sink full of little worms or aphids or other pests. And you'll think you got them all. You'll soak them in salt water and you'll rinse them really carefully. And an hour later, you'll be sitting at your dinner table eating your greens. And sure enough, you won't have gotten all of the pests because they'll be there on the leaves. Only now they're cooked, unless you're eating salad. And ask me how I know about that. Okay, so kind of funny story, but a little bit horrifying from my point of view. When I was a very new gardener about 40 years ago, I was eating broccoli from my first batch of broccoli I had ever grown in my garden, and it grew beautifully. I've never grown broccoli that looked that well ever again, ever since that time. But I was sitting with my bowl in front of my face, watching TV, and my fork was halfway paused between the bowl and my mouth. And I was looking at the TV screen, but in the peripheral vision, I could see something kind of weird hanging off my fork. And as my vision adjusted to the fork in front of me, I could see a lot. I can't even tell you how many green worms hanging off my fork. And you know, that bowl of broccoli was already half gone. I didn't grow broccoli again for years. So you can see that I have a vested interest in keeping the bugs off of my brassicas and my greens and really anything that I'm eating from my garden. I don't want to repeat the broccoli story again. The second approach is active pest management. This includes things like organic sprays or powders like surround kale and clay, using beneficial insects or predatory insects in the garden, ones that you release or draw in because of plants that you've planted or food sources or other things that you've done, like putting up masonry beehives or other kind of bug hotels in your garden to help draw them in. and using trap crops. Trap crops include using plants like nasturtiums, who aphids seem to favor, and planting those near your lettuce or kale plants and hoping that those insects that would be pests for those plants will go to the nasturtium plant first and leave your lettuce or your kale or whatever crop alone. Now, these methods can absolutely work, and many gardeners do use them successfully. The challenge is that they require ongoing attention. You have to monitor pest populations and identify what's causing the damage in your garden, and you often have to repeat treatments not only throughout the season, but sometimes as often as after every rainstorm. Products like diatomaceous earth can be very helpful. The only thing is, the minute it gets wet, it's no longer effective. And after every rainstorm or every high humidity day, and who doesn't have those in the summer, you'll be out there spreading more of that diatomaceous earth around your plants. And if you use something like surround kale and clay, it sticks pretty well. You have to put several layers on to get effective coverage. And again, when it rains, every few weeks or so at least, you're going to have to spray it again. If you enjoy managing your garden ecosystem, these can all be great options for you. But if you're looking for the simplest solution, there's one more approach. The third option is the one I've come to rely on most for greens. I simply cover them with insect netting. Instead of fighting insects after they arrive, I prevent them from getting to the plants in the first place. This works especially well for greens because they don't require pollination. We're harvesting leaves, not fruit, so the beneficial bugs don't even need to get near your plants. So unlike tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, melons, there's no downside to excluding pollinators for greens. As long as you don't trap insects under the netting when you set it up, you've created a physical barrier that keeps most pest problems from ever starting. No cabbage moss laying eggs, far fewer flea beetles, much less frustration. I still inspect my plants, but the amount of pest damage is almost non-existent. Well, thank you for spending time with me today. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. Be sure to watch the next video that's coming up on your screen. It pairs perfectly with today's topic, and I will see you next time. Take care.